بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. In the first session in two parts, we talked about contemporary need for spirituality even among non-religious people. And then we started talking about the position of spirituality in Islam. We said as a science, as a discipline, science of akhlaq, and also related subjects like irfan, tarbiyah are very important in Islam, very central part of Islamic teachings. But if instead of science we talk about morals, about manners, about qualities of the heart, not the science about them, then we can say they are the most important thing. Because even aqa'id, if it's taken as belief, as iman, as faith, it's a matter of morality. Because faith is not just to know. Faith means to accept, to welcome, to open your heart, to surrender to what you know. And therefore iman and kufr are moral choices that people make. It's very hard that someone just because didn't have enough information, has remained faithless. Yes, if it's the case, then they are excused if they had no access. But many times it's a matter of choosing or not choosing, wanting or not wanting. So we talked about this, and we talked about actions and morals. We made a comparison between good action and virtuous quality. And we said, of course we have discussed this more in moral philosophy, but here we briefly said that generally speaking, moral qualities are more important than moral actions, because they are more essential, they are closer to our reality. Actions are like branches, but morals are like roots. And therefore we said if a person has the quality of generosity, is much better than one or two generous acts. But we said there are exceptional cases that sometime in crucial time one action can be more important than a quality if it is not practiced, like ضربة علي يوم الخندق أفضل من عبادة الثقلين. So Amirul Mu'mineen had the quality, but this action made in a time which was very crucial, and it made big difference. It's not that we say, okay, whether he did it or not, it doesn't make that big difference. No, it makes big difference. And even if someone didn't have that quality, but was able to act in that way at that time, could rise a lot. So this particular action is very important. So we talked about this. Then We want to continue this discussion, but inshallah later, if Allah helps us, we will talk more about these topics. This is just introductory discussion. Some of the most fundamental values in Islam. We had a discussion about this in several places. First, in the series on indicators of piety, which was given in London many years ago. Then, in the Hose, when we talked about moral virtues, we said the very first virtue is truthfulness. I believe that the most fundamental value in Islamic ethics is truthfulness. Even in the Hose course, we said that although Ayatollah Mutahari says karama is the most fundamental value, but I argue that even karama goes back to truthfulness. So, to seek the truth, to welcome the truth, to act upon the truth, to bear witness about the truth. These are all different aspects of truthfulness. So, first of all, you should not be able to rest unless you find the truth. So, searching for truth, seeking the truth is very important. It's not that when truth comes to you or presented to you, accept. It's not enough. You have to be restless for finding the truth and then accept it. Maybe truth comes to you as a result of your search. Maybe it is presented by a friend. Maybe even comes from an enemy. It shouldn't make a difference. You should welcome the truth no matter where it comes. If you say, I only accept the truth if it comes from my own research or from my own circle, my own friends, you are not truthful. Because wherever truth comes, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Haq. Any piece of truth, any item of truth is a manifestation of the absolute truth. And if you don't accept it, then it means that you are not submissive to the absolute truth. Allah is Al-Haq, and anything which is true is a manifestation. So if I have an issue with my friend, with my neighbor, or with my enemy, and I don't accept the truth, I have indeed conflicted with God, who is absolute truth. So servitude requires to always accept the truth and act upon the truth, not just to accept it, and be a witness for the truth, even if it is against yourself. You should be shahid or shahid, a witness, even if it is against yourself. Walau ala anfusikum. Of course, to be a witness doesn't mean to say it necessarily. Sometimes you have to be a witness without saying. But you have to find the best way to be witness for the truth. So this is very fundamental, and we have lots of things to say about this, but I want to say that whole question of iman, taqwa, all go back to this quality, which is a moral quality. Even when it comes to the discussion in moral philosophy about intrinsic goodness and badness, what we know in Islamic science of kalam as al-husn wal-qub al-dhatiyan. So we say goodness and badness are intrinsic. This also shows that even prior to religion, we should have some understanding of what is good, what is bad. Those who believe in divine command theory, in the West we call it divine command theory, or those who are like Ash'arites, who don't accept husn qub zati, they say without religion we don't have any understanding, and we don't have even a difference between goodness and badness. Al-hasanu ma hassanahu shari'. Good is what the lawmaker, what Allah says it is good. When He says good, something is good, it's good. He could have said different things. He could have said lying is good, dishonesty is good, but He said telling truth is good, honesty is good. This is the Ash'arite idea, because they thought if we say God has to say what is good, what is bad based on some objective criteria, we are making Him limited. We are making Him subordinate to those objective standards. But we say no. You are making God's choices arbitrary. You are questioning His wisdom. You want to defend His power and authority, but you are questioning His wisdom. So we believe that goodness and badness are real, are objective, and at least basic ones can be understood by aql. So we believe husn qub zati and aqli. Zati is for maqam al-subut, aqli is for maqam al-isbat. Zati means about what is the reality. Aqli is whether we can understand it by ourselves or not. So moral values are so important that even before religion we can understand them, and indeed they take us towards religion and help us to prove the claim of a person who claims to be prophet. In the science of kalam, our ulama say, if you don't believe in husn qub zati and aqli, even Sharia cannot be proved. Husn qub shari will be baseless. Because how can you disprove the possibility that maybe God gives power, miraculous power, to a person who is liar? If someone says, okay, Quran is, for example, mu'jiza, or reviving the dead by Jesus is a mu'jiza, but maybe they are liars. Na'udhu billah. Maybe God has given this power to liars, so why I should accept what they say? If you say they themselves said that they shouldn't, no one should lie, lying is bad, then they say, okay, you are begging the issue. We need to have some understanding of ugliness of lying and cheating and deceiving before going to religion. These are basic values that we need to believe so that we go to religion and we can prove that a person who brings miracle is really an honest person that is truthful. In any case, this is all about significance of morals and some level of moral understanding prior even to faith. The next aspect of significance of spirituality and morality in Islam is what we can find in the Quran when Allah praises people or blames some people. You find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises or blames people, sometimes based on their actions, sometimes based on their qualities, sometimes based on their iman and kufr. But if you look at them more deeply, you realize that all go back to the qualities of their hearts. Because he is not concerned about what we say or what we do as such. He looks at hearts of people. Why they do this? On what basis they say or they exhibit these things? Even as I said, iman and kufr is all a matter of heart. Is iman in your heart or not? So, praise and blame go back finally to one's character and spirituality or quality of the heart. In particular, we made a survey about prophets in the Quran. Alhamdulillah, this paper is published. So I see if I can share with you. Okay, this paper is based on a research that my wife and I did. It is published in Message of Thaqalain, Spring 2020, volume 11, number 1. It should be available online. Moral characteristics of the prophets, a Quranic perspective. So we tried to survey the whole Quran about the things that Allah mentions about the prophets, how He describes them. Does He focus more on His actions or on their moral characteristics? This is one way to understand the significance of akhlaq. For example, about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we find emphasis on these characteristics. One is his submissiveness to God. Chapter 3, verse 20. So if they argue with you, say, I have submitted my will to God, and so has he who follows me. So this is a quality which is a spiritual quality, is an ethical quality. Or chapter 6, verse 163. I am the first of those who submit. Another quality that Allah praises the Prophet with is that he is very gentle with people. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. Chapter 3, verse 159. It is by God's mercy that you are gentle to them. And had you been harsh and hard-hearted, لو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك. Surely they would have scattered from around you. فاعف عنهم واستغفر لهم وشاورهم في الأمر فإذا عزمت فتوكل على الله إن الله يحب المتوكلين. Forgive them. Those who have wronged, forgive them. And ask me to forgive them. Look at mercy of Allah. First of all, it says, because of mercy of Allah, you have become gentle. And still Allah also wants the Prophet to be very kind with people and forgiving. He says, فَعْفُ عَنْهُمْ. Forgive them, pardon them. وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ. and ask me to forgive them. Because he looks for an excuse to forgive. But the same people that Allah says, forgive them, Allah says, وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ, consult them. But then when you make up your mind, put your trust in Allah. This is very beautiful ayah, and it needs lots of reflection. In some of the lectures, I have made a comparison between this and the ayah in Surah Taha about the Prophet Musa, ala nabiyina wa alayhi wa salam. Although I don't want to say that Prophet Musa was not gentle. I don't want to say that, but I'm just comparing the text. When it comes to the Prophet, Allah says, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. So he says in a kind of a statement. لِنْتَ لَهُمْ is إخبار, it's a statement. Yeah? But when it comes to the Prophet Musa, Allah says, قُولَا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا. Speak with Pharaoh in a gentle manner. This is command, this is instruction. There is a difference between a statement and command. Of course, Prophet Musa listened to God, but I'm saying just look at the language, rhetorics. So this is command, that is a statement. This is to be gentle in words. قُولَا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا. But when it comes to the Prophet, is his entire character. لَنْتَ لَهُمْ, not لَنْتَ لَهُمْ فِي الْقَوْلِ only. Even in the way you look at people, the way your face, can show whether you are gentle or not. So sometimes maybe you are nice in words, but your whole face gives different scenario. Sometimes when you walk, you are not gentle. Some people when they walk, the whole room is, shaken. So Prophet was completely gentle. He was a real, gentleman. So these are differences. And what is amazing is, again, Musa alayhi salam says, رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي. This is dua, this is a request. But when it comes to the Prophet, Allah says, Alam nashrah laka sadrak. This is not a dua. This is Allah saying that, didn't we make this? Means already this is done. So Musa asked for Sharasat. Of course, Allah says, U'tita su'laka ya Musa. He was granted that. But when it comes to the Prophet, Allah already says to the Prophet, Alam nashrah laka sadrak. Also, Allah says to the Prophet, جاهد الكفار والمنافقين واغلظ عليهم. This ayah is ayah that we have discussed in some lectures, that this is about particular group of people. Unfortunately, some people think that this is Islamic general guideline about how to deal with non-Muslims. No, kuffar and munafiqin are not non-Muslims only. This is a specific group. This is after they have been, trying to kill, to fight, to create fitna. It's a very particular case that no other policy has worked, and now you have to defend back. So, but it's interesting that when Allah talks to the Prophet, he says, وَغَلُوظَ عَلَيْهِمْ. In war, be harsh as an action, not as a quality. Don't say kun ghalizan. The Prophet was not ghaliz, he was lean. Yeah? But Allah says, at least in the war, you need to show some kind of harshness. This is the nature of war. If the Prophet was ghaliz, Allah wouldn't say وَغْلُظْ عَلَيْهِمْ. And in the ayah we just discussed, it says, لو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك. So look at soft nature of the Prophet, how kind he was, how merciful he was. That Allah doesn't say to him, be gentle. No, he's already gentle. Allah says in the battle, وَغْلُظْ عَلَيْهِ. Or for example, when it comes to the verses about Risala in Surah Al-Ahzab, which is very important. I have a discussion about significance of the verses about Risala as mission statement for the Prophet, and these verses help us to understand the entire Quran. These lectures are available, inshallah, you can find. It's a very fundamental question, how to understand the Quran in the light of mission statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when it comes to the mission statement of the Prophet, Allah says, Ya ayyuhan nabi, inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhiran wa da'iyan ila Allah bi'iznihi wa sirajan munira wa bashir al-mu'minina bi'anna lahum min Allahi fadlan kabira. And then Allah says to the Prophet, وَلَا تُطِعِ الْكَافِرِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقِينَ وَدَعْ أَذَاهُمْ. This is principle. This is the main guiding instruction. لا تطع الكافرين والمنافقين. The main principle is not قاتل الكفار والمنافقين. لا تطع الكفار. Do you see the difference? Allah said, don't let them engage you. Don't obey them. وَدَعْ أَذَاهُمْ. And even if they annoy you as much as possible, ignore. This is different from saying, we have sent you to, kill or fight these people. No. The mission statement is, you should be shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira. You be a witness. Give good news to those who follow. Warn the people who want to do mischief. And don't obey bad people. You see how mission is based on rahmah, how Allah chose a suitable person for this mission of rahmah. نُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Alhamdulillah, we have a series of lectures on understanding God's mercy, which are published as papers, which shows that how much rahmah is important in the Quran. So this ayah is very important ayah. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. Another characteristic of the Prophet is that he was very deeply concerned for the people. A loving father and a loving mother, if they are put together, if you have love of father and mother together, they still will fall short compared to the love of Rasulullah for people. In Surah Tawbah, chapter 9, verse 128, Allah says that a messenger has come to you who is very concerned about you. And when you are in trouble, he is very much suffering. Harisun alaykum. Azizun alayhi ma anattum. Harisun alaykum. Azizun alayhi ma anattum means it's very difficult for him. In dua nutbah, when we want to say how much we suffer in the time of ghaiba for Imam al-Zaman's separation from us, we say Azizun alayya an abkiyaka wa yakhdhulaka wara. Azizun alayya an yajri alayka dunahum ma jara. Yeah. But Rasulullah was finding every pain of people Azizun alayh, according to Quran, according to Allah's words. Azizun alayhi ma anattum. He didn't want anyone to suffer. بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. In the Quran, I think we have 126 times Rahim for Allah. 114 in Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, because we have 114 Bismillah ar-Rahman in Quran. In Surah Tawbah we don't have Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, but in the story of Prophet Sulaiman we have Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim inside the surah. So 114 Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim plus other cases, I think 226 times we have Rahim in the Quran, all for Allah. Only once it is used for someone other than Allah, and that is for the Prophet. بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. And for those who are with the Prophet, we have Ruhama as plural. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم. Because of the Prophet, so either means Prophet والذين معه together, or الذين معه are like this. But in any case, because these are مع رسول الله, that they are Ruhama. But the Rahim is only used for Allah and the Prophet. Another quality is that he had faith in God and words of God. Chapter 7, verse 158. The famous ayah. So the middle of ayah, we reach here. So have faith in God and his apostle, the uninstructed, Nabi al-Ummi, who has faith in God and his words. Another quality, of course, similar to this we find in other places like chapter 10 verse 104, chapter 13 verse 14. God-fearing, his taqwa. Chapter 10 verse 15 and chapter 39 verse 13. Pure in his worship, chapter 10 verse 104, chapter 39 verse 14. His heart is strengthened by God, chapter 11 verse 120, or chapter 25 verse 32. He puts his trust in God, chapter 13 verse 30, chapter 42 verse 10. Mercy to all inhabitants of the world, Rahmatun lil Alamin, chapter 21 verse 107. He is trustworthy, chapter 44 verse 18. Shadid, hard against the faithless, but not the faithless. This is not a good translation. Those who are rejecting and fighting the faith, not just those who have no faith. His devotion to God, chapter 48 verse 29, chapter 73 verse 20. His great character, إنك لعلى خلق عظيم, chapter 68 verses 1 to 4 is a passage, and then inside that passage is إنك لعلى خلق. He is a good role model for his akhlaq, his character and behavior, chapter 33 verse 21. This is about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then we did it for other prophets. For example, for Prophet Ibrahim. I just mentioned now the qualities, I don't mention the references. For example, for Prophet Ibrahim, his righteousness, his submission to God, being upright and hanif, being muhsin, a benefactor, being Allah, a person who is tender-hearted and returns to God, being forbearing when he is wronged. He was patient, he was halim, he was penitent. He was a person that was going back to God. Obedient, grateful, shakir, shakiran la'an'umih. Most truthful, Siddiq, meets his Lord with pure heart. جاء ربه بقلب سليم. It was his dua, and Allah informs us that this was granted. He said, رب لا تخزني يوم يبعثون يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. Then Allah says, جاء ربه بقلب سليم. Faithful puts his trust in God, is a good example. Isa alayhi salam, his righteousness, held in honor in the world and the hereafter. He was teaching the book and wisdom. You may say this is not directly about morality, but we know that the only people who are pure have knowledge of the book. Yeah? If you are not pure, you don't have knowledge of the book, so you cannot teach people. And also you cannot teach people the book unless you purify them. Tazkiyah comes before ta'lim. يزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة. Near to God, he was brought nearer to God. كان من المقربين. He was pure, he was kind and considerate. Musa alayhi salam, penitent, faithful, purified, given wisdom, benefactor, noble, trustworthy. Joseph, he was Siddiq, most truthful, trustworthy, Amin. He was a good keeper, Hafiz, benefactor, Muhsin. And then about other prophets, Prophet Jones, Prophet Saleh, Arun, brother of Musa, Prophet Noah. So for all these prophets, we made list of everything that Allah mentioned as a kind of praise. And as you see, most of them are about moral character, and those who are not also relate to moral character, they go back to moral character. This shows that how much morality is important in Islam. It's very obvious actually. The next manifestation of spirituality in Islam is the famous hadith of the Prophet, إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. Inshallah, we will have a little break. We will say our salat and then we connect. So now it's 1:25. Inshallah, in 20 minutes means 1:45 London time. Inshallah, in 20 minutes we will connect. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. If you have questions, please write down your questions. Inshallah, in the next session we will have time for Q&A. التماس الله. ما شاء الله.